Hey there, my friends. How are you? Let's have a look at some animation fundamentals, shall we? Let's talk about arcs. Let's talk about follow through and overlapping action. All right, so we are in our millinote here and we have arcs. Arcs add clarity to your action. They make drastic difference to the quality and appeal of your animation. Okay, and really what it means is that nothing in the planet, nothing in the universe moves in straight lines. Okay, everything uses arcs. All right, this is a beautiful little setup here that this Christina has come up with, and really beautiful. Everything in the world. Okay, so if we can, the more arcs we can bring into our animation, the better. All right. A free ebook from Mamo World talks about arcs and has this really cool arcs versus straight lines. So, you know, when we animate on computers, computers like arcs. They like very simple things. But you know what? In the real world, it just doesn't work. Okay, and actually, arcs in nature is more energy efficient. All right, so if we talk about arcs from a motion, just from a motion path, we have arcs. Okay, it doesn't go up and down. Okay, shape paths. So if I were to just look at this, okay, I want a ball that follows my shape. Well, I guess I could do that. All right, but I'm looking at this triangle. And I'll just turn on my mask shape so we can see it. And I'll look at it and convert shape to Bezier path, then copy paste to position. Well, what does that mean? Let's start over again. I'll get my star tool, okay, and I'll pull out a star. I'll just change that to a triangle with my down arrow. All right, we'll make it nice and big. Oh my goodness, and I'll use the shift to make it work properly. All right, so I have this shape that I want to copy. Well, right now it's a polystar. So if I right-click and convert to Bezier path, then what I get is actually the ability to take this path, copy it, Control-Command-C. All right, and what I'll do is paste it in just some kind of other shape. So if I go to ellipse and we pull out something that's not the same color. All right, we've got our ball, and we go in here and I go to P for position, and I'll transform center, anchor point, and layer content, and I'll go in here on the position and I'll paste that in. And what that does, when you paste in the shape from something else and you paste it into the position, what you actually get is something really cool. You get the beginning and end, and you get roving keyframes. This right here is a rove across time keyframe. So but the problem is it's missing my last one, which is right there. So if I hold down Alt, I can squish these, let go. There we go. And I'll hold down Alt, and I'll pull that back out. Now, this thing is going to copy that shape exactly. Well, that's boring, and that's not really the way anything works in nature. So now that I have this ball in a shape, following this shape, well, I can go in here and I can play with these keyframes. Okay, you can see we have more than a few, so I can just I'm just gonna delete these actually. Delete vertex, bonk and bonk and bonk. And now if I go back to my pen tool, now I can shift select these, maybe, you know, pull them inside out a little bit. I'd have to do that. Now I can see I can follow the beginning. I'll select the end and do the same thing. Something so that we get a little bit of motion, a little bit of arc. Okay, it doesn't need to be like this. It can be flat, right? Or just sort of arced the other way, just sort of around it. Okay, and that just, again, much easier, much easier on the eyes, much more visually appealing and more natural. All right, so let's keep going here. The next thing we have, two really good tutorials by Evan Abrams, Diverging paths. These are basically when we're creating paths from an Illustrator file. And so I have an example here, not quite as beautiful as Evan Abrams, and everything looking really nice and organic and beautiful, but you know, I was just trying something similar, something to give us weight, something to give us a little bit of motion. And what this means is this is a motion path from Illustrator. So let's go have a look at what I did. What I did is start with importing and I'll just go to the end so you can see them, something like that. These paths were drawn in Illustrator, okay? And once they came in, then let's just go say this is the path that I brought in. What I did was create shapes from vector layer, okay? And after that, you can do whatever you want with them. And what I've done is, just like in that tutorial by Evan Abrams, I've gone in here with that line that I've drawn, okay, and I have found the path. Actually highlight the word path, and then you can go up to Window, go down all the way underneath all the extra bits and pieces you've brought into After Effects like me, and go to Create Nulls from Paths, okay? And if you open that up, depends where it goes. But in this case, I'm going to trace path. And what that does is it creates a brand new layer, and you can see that it actually follows that path. If I hit U, you can see this, it seems to think that 1 second is long enough, but all you do is just drag that out. And then we start parenting those other elements to it. I've added a trim paths, just like in that tutorial. Really interesting, fun, straightforward way to map out exactly what you want to have happen on the screen, okay? And then you get into, you know, the motivation. He talks interestingly about the motivation. He uses in that tutorial a camera that he animates within this big comp here. Okay, what I've done instead is just created a new comp that is Command-K, 1920 by 1080. All right, and I've added just position. So I've literally just taken this position and moved it down as those elements go up, okay? And I've added some things in the background to help us understand that these little shapes are swimming or flying upwards. All right, so really good tutorials again. Evan Abrams does a lot of great stuff. This one, creating nulls from paths, is another great way to take the mystery out of animating from a shape like this. So what's happening here, I just have a ball bouncing off of it, right? But what I've done is just literally go and draw a shape, okay? And I'll get rid of the fill, and I'll make this nice and thick. Now, it's really hard for me to animate this shape over time, right? I could go in here, contents, shape path, make a keyframe for that path, and then I could go to the next one and, you know, animate all of these elements, okay, and then go to the next one, and then, you know, take this shape and try to animate it. But what happens is you're fighting all of these separate elements, right? You're fighting this Bezier curve. Oops. You're fighting the anchor points that have to be the same for each frame. So that's not a good way to do it, all right? So instead, I'll take that back to the beginning. And with that highlighted, I'll go to that same thing, that same window, create nulls from paths, and then either points follow nulls or nulls follow points. So in this case, I want to create some nulls that follow my points. So I'll click that. Oop, and I gotta select the actual path. Nulls follow points, boom, boom, boom. So now, basically what it does is it creates as many nulls as you have anchor points. Okay? And so now, regardless of what I do, now I have the ability in this position data to manipulate. Oop, did I do it wrong? No, I did not do it wrong. Let's back up. Okay, we're here. We have our path selected. And create nulls from paths. Points follow nulls. Okay, yeah, I was wrong. So we are going to create our nulls, and therefore we want our points to follow nulls. Okay, so click this one, makes it orange this time, and now you can see I have my position, and I can do what I want with that position. I can keyframe this, I can rotate it, you know, have this animate in, animate out. I can do anything I want to it. Over time, I can easy ease. I can parent those positions to something else. You have a lot more control over it. All right. So that is the basically creating a shape that you want something you want to easily be able to animate. Well, that's the way to do it. All right. Another way to have to create arcs. Let's get back on our arcs. Is a sketch, which there it is. So if you look at this motion path from Sketch, you can see this thing just flies around. Well, how do we do that? Well, what you do is you have some kind of element, doesn't matter what. I could go make a null object, okay, and have it selected. And what I'm going to do is go over to my motion sketch, or if you can't see it there, window, motion sketch right there, okay. And I don't care about the wireframe, but and I'll start capture, and then let's just go woo, woo, woo. And you can see that your timeline goes, and now my null, which has nothing on it so far, is actually following that motion sketch. So if I wanted to create something, let's say it's going to be a ball, and I'll just put a ball right on that thing, and I'll take that ball and I'll parent it to my null, and look at that. Oh, now we have, I just need to add my sound effects. So if I go here and I hit U, you can see all of these keyframes. What I'll do is I'll select all of those keyframes by hitting the position, and I'll go to my smoother, and even if I just click once, it helps, but maybe just up that, and it just takes away those excess ones, and you can just keep doing that and doing that and doing that again and again and again, and get us a much smoother animation. So, okay, you can see how this is following my path exactly, which it's kind of, yeah, sure. I mean, that might work. Or I could just take all of these in-between keyframes, right click, and rove across time. And if you watch the keyframes, see how there's many keys in there? That means it's going slow. If it's there, it's going fast. Watch if I go to rove across time. Now every single one of these is perfectly equal. And I've just smoothed out my animation. All right. So that's from Motion Sketch. If you can figure out how to do that, maybe with a Wacom tablet. I've had some problems with it working, like actually being able to record. But, you know, as simple as that is, Motion Sketch and Start Capture, you could say, hello. Well, hello, you'd have to, okay, that's not going to work. You would have to start capture and go, hello. Okay, maybe have a right-on effect as well. Something like that. There's all kinds of ways of using the Motion Sketch. All right, what else do we have? Let's move on. Okay, let's go to follow through and overlap. We'll keep this going nice and quick. And basically, it helps to create more realistic movement. Okay, we've talked in the past about UX motion and how follow through or sequentially animated elements work really well. So they're just obeying the laws of physics by having this follow through. Okay, so if we look at some ways of getting follow through, I'm going to follow through with keyframes. So first of all, I have this blue ball that is parented to the yellow ball. Okay, I'll just take that off, and you can see nothing spectacular, just going back and forth. Now what I can do is I'm kind of counter animating here. So I'm having it go back and then forward, and so basically as this is animating to the right, I'm animating my position, and I'll turn that position bell off, to the left. Okay, and this might work for something really fast, but counter animating is never really your friend. Okay, you really don't ever want to have to do that if you don't need to. But if you're just little something simple, maybe at the end of an animation, just go ahead and smash into it. Okay, smash it up. So there's another one, follow through with scripts. So in this case, what we have is actually a script. If we go in here and we look, we can see that we have a very generic follow through script, which is different depending on your amplitude. Right here, amplitude, frequency, and decay. All right, so I can. This depends on how fast your keyframes are, right? But also I can say, okay, maybe I don't want it to be to have that long a decay where it goes basically to the end of my thing here. Maybe we take that decay down to say 2. All right, and now it's going to decay for even longer. So decay is the opposite. All right, so let's go to like 9, and now it should decay much faster. Yeah. Okay. All right, so this kind of expression is pretty straightforward, and they're available all around the web. So if you were to go and Google After Effects expression bounce, you would probably find this one, this gray machine one here, Inertial Bounce. Okay, that one's a pretty good, pretty straightforward one. But there's all kinds of these things. I played with this one a little while ago. It was kind of awesome. You can get some really fun looking stuff. Okay, and basically what you are going to do is select, not move your layer, but you're going to select your keyframes and you're going to hold down Alt or Option, all right, on a Mac, and you're going to hover over your stopwatch and click that, and then paste your script in there, okay, your expression, and you're done. And you'll get this nice kind of follow through. All right, so pretty straightforward stuff to help us create something a little more believable. Okay, arcs give us that nice real world example, and so does follow through and overlapping action. All right, I will leave it there, my friends. Let me shoot that back into there, and I will say thank you very much, and we will say see you next time, and happy animating.